Well, the pandemic has hit the travel sector harder than most, but the impact in the UK has been felt particularly hard. London's Heathrow Airport was once Europe's busiest, but its passenger numbers plunged by 90% in June when compared to figures in 2019. Overall, the UK's airports are performing far worse than their European competitors due to tough UK government travel restrictions. Industry leaders are warning of huge losses for a second year running. But could there finally be light at the end of the runway? Matt Gooderick has more from London.
Planes grounded, flights cancelled. The UK's airports have been eerily quiet over the past 16 months. Just 74 million people passed through them last year, less than a quarter of the nearly 300 million recorded in 2019. The industry has relied on government support and shareholder backing to remain in operation.
No passengers, no revenue. But at the same time, the airport stayed open because, we're allowing freight, search and rescue, all those sort of critical services. And you need the airports to be open for that. If an airport's open, about 70% of its costs are fixed. So 70% fixed costs, no revenue. Our shareholders are standing behind us, but there's a limit to how long that can be sustained for.
Passenger numbers here at the UK's largest airport, Heathrow, plummeted nearly 73% in 2020, leading to a loss of around $2.8 billion. And the forecast for this year isn't looking much better. The UK's Airport Operators Association says its members stand to lose another $3.6 billion between the peak travel months of April to September. The association points to what it calls the government's overly cautious approach to reopening travel. It says more freedom of movement should be allowed, given the UK's successful vaccine rollout. The government developed a traffic light system for travel this year. Green means go, but amber means travellers arriving from those countries currently need to quarantine and be tested for COVID-19. The system has led to confusion and hassle for passengers.
I don't think that system has been as clear and concise as it should have been, and so consumers have been baffled by it. They've not been clear on what amber status really means and whether they've been able to travel to an amber country, for example. So it hasn't been the finest hour in the government's history in terms of that traffic light system.
But it seems to be listening to the complaints. Transport Secretary Grant Shapps has announced that from the 19th of July, double vaccinated Brits won't need to quarantine on their return from abroad. Better late than never for a sector that supports 1.6 million jobs, according to industry leaders.
This is the news the travel sector needed because it opens up the opportunities for more travel. Those who've been fully jabbed should have been given that freedom to go away without the worry of quarantine much earlier, as American citizens have been able to do, as European citizens have been able to do. Finally, the UK has caught up and enabled this to happen. So it should bring about more bookings and, of course, more confidence for the sector.
It's finally time for UK travel to take off. But with cases continuing to rise, don't be surprised if there's more turbulence ahead. Matt Gooderick, TRT World, London.